Today I'm going to show you how to make an African flower square and turn it into a small bag. First, choose the colors of yarn you would like to use. For mine, I want the yellow to be the center part of my bag. The flower part, I want to be this deep peacock purple. The light brown edges of the flower, I want to be this bright coral. The blue, I'm actually sticking with the light blue. And on the outside, I want to have this dark green. This video is for people who are brand new to crocheting, so if you already know the basic stitches, you might want to jump ahead a little bit. Let's first talk about how to hold the crochet hook. First, put your thumb against the flat part with the curve of the hook facing towards your thumb. Then place your index finger on the other side, and you can move it back and forth as you move your yarn back and forth. Next, let's take a look at your yarn. The cut end is the bitter end, and the end that leads to the ball of yarn is the working end. First, we're going to look at how to make a slip knot. Take the working end of your yarn and fold it over the bitter end of your yarn to make a loop. Then, take the working end, reach underneath, and push it through the loop and pull. Then tighten everything, and you will have a slip knot. Next, get your crochet hook and place it through that loop. Then pull the working end, leaving the bitter end free. Pull the working end to tighten your crochet. The thing is, you want to have a small hole right up against your hook, and this is a little bit too tight, so I want to pull the bitter end slightly, and now I have a slight hole. Maybe pull the working end again, so I have just a little bit of a hole that my hook can more easily fit through that slip knot. Now, how to hold the other end of your yarn. I like to place it between my ring and pinky fingers, and then use my index finger to provide a little more tension. If this is too much tension, don't put the yarn between your ring and pinky fingers. If it's not enough tension, you can actually wrap the yarn around your pinky finger and then work with it, and that should provide some extra tension. So we are now ready to make a chain, which is what most crochet projects start with. So I will hold my thumb against the flat part and put my index finger against the yarn. This allows me to slide the yarn up and down the hook. Now I want to chain 5, make a chain of 5 with my yarn. So first I want to yarn over. Always yarn over from behind the hook and come over the front. Notice I want to use my finger to keep it from spinning around. So yarn over from the back, then take that crochet hook and turn it sideways to catch the yarn and pull it through the first loop that was on the yarn, and we have crocheted one chain. Now, if you'll notice, this part of the hook, of the crochet hook near the hook, is skinnier, and this part here is wider. So I always want to push my yarn onto the wider part of my crochet hook before I take the next stitch. That will keep the yarn the right size instead of crocheting too tightly. So I have a chain 1, I need to chain 5 total. So yarn over from behind, turn the hook, catch that yarn and pull a loop through the loop that's on here, and continue until you have all 5. Notice that I like to use my thumb and my middle finger to hold this work, and I keep grabbing onto the stitches I've already made and working upwards so I can keep going. So there's the 3rd, 4th, and 5th crochet. So you notice I now have a chain on my hook. Notice on the front side of the chain, it looks like a braid with little V-shaped braids on the top. On the bottom side, I should have a little stitch in the center of each one of these. And if I'm counting my chains, Notice that I do not count the chain that is on the crochet hook, but I do count the one that came off of it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains. Now we want to use a slip stitch to make this chain 5 grouping into a ring. We want to connect it at the ends and the ends of the 5 chains. So I'll take my crochet hook and I'll put it through the work. Now here it doesn't really matter as long as I have 2 of the yarns above and 1 layer of the yarn below my hook. That's all that matters. But if I really want to be perfect, like I want to be later, I want to get the 2 tops of the V on top of my crochet hook and the little loop on the bottom. However, right now that's not important. So just get 2 loops of yarn above and 1 loop of yarn below. Now, hold this part still with your index finger, and you want to yarn over always from the back and kind of come diagonally across the hook. Turn that hook, turn that hook, hold onto the tail, the bitter end, to keep it tight enough, and pull your hook through both loops. See how there's 2 loops right here. Pull that hook through both loops, then pull it through the original loop as well. And now here you have made a slip stitch. You now have a ring here with your crochet. You need to find the center of your ring where it makes a big opening. Be careful not to open one of your chains and find the center of a chain stitch. You want to find the true center of that ring. Now we are ready to crochet round 1 of our design. So first of all, make sure this bitter end, this cut end, is going along with your work. You're going to be crocheting in a circle around this ring, and you want this end to be tucked in and crocheted into the rest of your design. So first, we want to chain 3 from this ring, and that will count as our first double crochet. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. But for right now, hold this loop steady, pull it mostly tight, yarn over from behind, pull up a loop, yarn over from behind, pull up a second, yarn over, pull up a third. Now we want to make 1 double crochet in the ring. So here's how you do a double crochet. Yarn over from behind, and then hold this little piece, this extra piece alongside the ring on the top part of the ring where you're going to work, and bring the hook down over the front and place it through the hole of the ring. Notice how that bitter end is looped over the top. We have 2 loops around the hook. It goes through the hole, and then you have the bitter end here. The bitter end will stay with that loop. Now, when you yarn over, you're kind of already over the top in the front. So don't try to come around the back. That's not correct. Come diagonally over the front. You're already almost there. Then turn your hook so that it catches it and pulls it through the loop. You now have 3 loops of yarn on your crochet hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. You might have to turn your hook and pull through 1 at a time. Then yarn over and pull through 2 more loops. That is a double crochet. And the chain 3 beside it acts as the first double crochet. So technically we have 2 double crochets in our ring right now. Then you want to chain 1, yarn over, and pull up your loop. Now we are ready to do this again. 2 double crochets in the ring and a chain 1. So yarn over from the back, bring your hook forward and into the hole of the loop, yarn over, you're kind of already yarned over, grab that yarn and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over, pull through 2 loops. By the way, if you mess up, crochet is so easy to fix. All you do is you take your hook out and gently pull until you have unraveled as much as you wish to unravel. Put the hook back in the yarn and you can start again. So yarn over, fold it over the yarn through the loop. Notice I'm still catching this bitter end and just wrapping everything around it as part of that loop. Pull up a loop, yarn over from behind, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Then make another double crochet in the loop of your ring, and then make another chain 1. So you can kind of see these are separated by the chain 1. We have the equivalent of 2 double crochets, a chain 1. We have 2 true double crochets and a chain 1. So we have 2 repetitions of this pattern. We want to keep going until we have made 8 repetitions, not just 2, all the way around this ring. So continue on until the end. Now I appear to have a problem. I have only crocheted 5 groups of 2 double crochets and a chain 1. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm already out of room. What do? Well, just push the crochet around on that loop to leave yourself a fresh bit of loop to crochet. And near the end, if you end up just kind of crocheting on top of the beginning stuff just a little bit, that's okay. When you get to the end of your ring and you've made 8 groups, make sure you did that final chain 1 at the end. Notice I have 2 loops of yarn here going over this yarn, so I know I forgot to do the chain 1 because a chain 1 only leaves 1 loop of yarn around my final yarn. Now we are ready to slip stitch this into one big circle. So first you have to find the top of your first double crochet, which is actually a chain 3. What I like to do is go to my second double crochet and find the loop of yarn that it is at the very top. Not the loop of yarn going off to the left, but the loop of yarn directly above it and maybe slightly to the right. That is the top of your second double crochet. Go backwards 1 loop, 1 braid, and that is the top of your first double crochet. And here is where it becomes important to crochet this in the top 2 loops of your yarn. So not the loop on the back. So what you want to do is come underneath this first loop and put that yarn through just that bottom loop. Then go over the stuff in the middle and get the second loop on your hook. So you'll have 2 loops of yarn on your hook. On the back, you'll just have that 1 loop. Okay. Now, yarn over, just kind of diagonally across the front. Pull that loop through both parts of your chain. You might have to pull hard to get it through. Then, since this is a slip stitch, pull that first loop of yarn through the second loop, and you'll only have 1 loop of yarn on your hook. Finally, we are ready to finish off this first row or first round. So yarn over from the back and pull up a loop, but pull this loop pretty far out. Cut the yarn in the center of the loop, then pull the working end of your yarn out, leaving this bitter end that you just made, and pull that tight so that you have a knot at the end. You should have a tail at the top, and you should also have a tail at the center of the back of your work. Don't worry about this extra big hole. It will get fixed as you continue to follow this pattern. You have finished round 1 of your African flower square.